Hey guys, welcome to Selenium with Java April 2023 batch online training session 8. In today's session, I will start with TestNG framework. As of now, you already learned all the concept of Java, all the basics, key important functionality of Selenium WebDriver. But what's the problem? In case you are using Selenium WebDriver and Java project, right, there might be some problem unless you are using any practical framework. So that is the reason always in the real time you should deal with some standard framework, but TestNG is an framework which will provide some advanced feature which is the inbuilt framework. Apart from that, slowly we will go to the other framework like data driven framework, keyword driven and hybrid framework, where you can get to know more about more details about the framework. Okay. So in today's session, I will cover what is TestNG all about and how you can install TestNG step by step. What are TestNG annotations available? How you can enable and disable test? How you can do the like prioritization of the test cases and how you can perform sequential execution. What is soft and hard assertion in TestNG? What are the importance of depends on method, always run, invocation count, invocation timeout, and skip fail invocation attribute in TestNG, and how we can run multiple test suites in TestNG. So, what is TestNG? NG nothing for next generation. So, TestNG is a JUnit inspired open source automated testing framework providing several features like data driven testing, parameterization support, different utility, annotation, and test case grouping that aid in creating robust and powerful testing projects. So before TestNG, JUnit came into the market. So JUnit primarily used by the development team, but nowadays you can use JUnit for the BDD framework with Cucumber tool as well. So you can learn the JUnit in the last session wherever I will cover the BDD with Cucumber. So TestNG is designed to cover all categories of tests. You can do unit testing, functional testing, integration testing, end-to-end testing, etc. Using TestNG, user can generate proper report. User can easily identify how many test cases are passed, failed, and skipped. In case user need to execute the failed test case separately, is it possible to execute? So in the previous session, we have created a lot of classes into the project, right? So suppose say in the yesterday session we have created the session 7. But the problem is that in case you are adding so many line of code, all the code will be treated as a single test case. And in case you are running them, right, it will not generate any kind of report. It will only do the actions whatever way you want to perform the operations. Apart from that, it will give you some result in the console, but you can not get to know how many test cases passed, fail, like that, and you will not able to generate any proper report. So that is the one drawback of, right, normal Java class. You could see, right, it is only executed, but you are not able to see any test case pass, fail, or any report is not generating at the end of the day. Definitely we cannot always rely on the TestNG report, because some more beautiful report we need to, right, trigger. We can go with that extend report, so that like beautiful report can be generated after the execution is done, and that report can be shared with the respective stakeholder, because report is one of the key important functionality. So whatever way you are doing the execution, you are developing your script, you are running them, but until you are generating proper report, nobody will be satisfied that what you are doing, because the other person, right, project manager or other stakeholder, they are not familiar with the automation approach. They do not know what you are doing, but what they are more interested is that they want to see some report, and they want to understand how many test cases passed, fail, what is the failure reason, in case that is failed, right, whether any screenshot is captured or not, or like that. So Java project normal, in case you are not integrating with any framework, right, it will not give all the required details. So why TestNG is useful in Selenium? So the testing framework can be easily integrated with different tools like Maven, Jenkins, etc. So Maven is nothing but the build management tool. You can get to know about the Maven in the last session, and Jenkins is nothing but the CI/CD tool through which you can do continuous integration testing. And TestNG will generate the report in a proper format, including a number of test cases run, the number of test cases passed, number of test cases failed, and the number of test cases skipped as well. Multiple test cases can be grouped more easily by converting them into TestNG.xml file, in which you can make prioritize which test case should be executed first. The same test case can be executed multiple times without loop just by using the keyword called invocationCount. So say suppose in the real time, sometime you need to run the same test case again and again and again, maybe 10 times. Why you require? Because you need to create some data as part of the precondition. So in the normal way, in case you want to run it, you need to copy the test case 5 times, 10 times like that. But later point of time, in case something got changed, you need to update all the iteration. But in TestNG, we'll be simply using invocationCount equal to 10, so automatically that particular test case will be run for 10 times. Using TestNG, user can execute multiple test cases on multiple browser, or means cross-browser testing is possible. Suppose say in case you want to run the same test case in different browser like Chrome browser, like Firefox browser or Safari browser, it is possible. Or you can do the like you are having 10 test cases, you can run 3 test cases in the Chrome, 4 test cases in the Safari, and 3 test cases in the Mozilla. That also can be done. So cross-browser testing is also possible easily using TestNG. Annotation used in the testing are very easy to understand. There are a lot of annotation available in the TestNG, like before method, before test, after test, before group, after group, before shoot, after shoot, like that. TestNG simplifies the way the tests are coded. There is no more need for a static main method in our test. That is one of the key important thing. So here, in case you want to run anything, so always you need to write your script after the main method. But in TestNG, you will not use the main method anymore. Without the main method, you can run the test case using TestNG. TestNG simplifies, uncaught exception are automatically handled by TestNG without terminating the test prematurely. This exception are reported as fail step in the report. That is the one of the important thing. Apart from that, there are assertion available, right? You no need to use any if else condition. Instead of that, you will be simply use the assert class in TestNG, where you can add the verification point for the important or key steps, and you can make your past test case passed or failed based on the expected and actual result matching. What are the important features available in TestNG? So I already mentioned different types of assertion. TestNG has an assert class that provides multiple methods supporting different type of assertion, like checking equality of expected and actual result, asserting a condition as true or false, asserting if the value is null, etc. That is the very important thing. In case you are also using JUnit, you can also use that assertion, right? Through assertion you can check whether expectation or actual is matching or not. In case it is not matching, it will fail the test cases, but it will not stop the execution for the remaining step. Run test in parallel. TestNG is having one important key thing called TestNG.xml file, right? With that particular file, there are a lot of settings is there. You can change the setting. After that, you can do the parallel testing, which will reduce the overall test execution time. The parallel testing can be done in multiple levels, like method level, class level, shoot level, etc. You can make test case dependent on one other using its depends on method and depends on group attribute with @test annotation. User can make test case dependent on other test. Why the dependence is required? I'm just giving a simple example. Suppose say you are having a website. You need to automate the website. So how you'll be doing it? You'll be creating the usual component. Path is for the login, where you will just launch the website. You will give the user ID, password, and then login will be done. After that, once login is done, you will try to search some product, right? Once the product is there, then you will go for the size, then you will add the product to the cart, right? That might be a second scenario. Then third scenario is that once the product is added to the cart, right, you will verify the details, and then you want to make the payment, where you can use credit card, debit card, right, your different other options, okay? Then once payment is done, like, you will be receiving the order. In case you are not satisfied with the order, you will be returning the order, like that. That will happen. But say sometimes the product is not searchable at all, then is it good to execute the remaining test cases, like kind of payment, return, all this stuff? There is no point at all to execute these test cases. So I can make the other test cases dependent on the first two test cases, like login and the searching the product. In case those test cases are not successful, then the other test case will be simply skipped instead of failing. Failing means it will execute all the steps and it will take some time. But in case my dependent test case is getting far not passed, right, I don't want to execute them, I want to skip them. So that is the way I will save my time and efforts. Then grouping of the test cases. TestNG supports logical grouping of test cases, thus providing ability to run the test group in parallel, performing certain operation before or after the execution of the test belonging to a group. So you are having total 100 test cases, but not always you'll be running all the 100 test cases. Suppose say 5 test cases of like your smoke suit, 20 test cases from the functional suit, 10 test cases from the integration, 20 test cases from the end-to-end, remaining test cases for the UAT, or maybe test case you can group on the application type. So based on a requirement, you will try to run the test case. So once grouping is done, you can call the group and then your test case will be running. So most of the time you need to run the smoke suit, so that you will be not be running 100 test cases. Instead of that, you will be running 5 test cases to certify that your build is basic operation is successful after build deployment happen. So that is the way you can make the grouping of the test case. Data driven testing, that is one of the important thing. Using @data provider, user can create data driven test in which the test data is passed to the test method through its data provider. So why data driven testing is required? So in case you want to execute the same test with a different variety of the data, right? So you need to have the data driven. So the data part, you will be taking the data which is not the hard coded, which is dynamic in nature, and each single test case you can run for 10, 20 times with different variation of the data. In the reporting, after test execution, an HTML report gets generated providing tabular reporting of the test result. This report format is also configurable by implementing TestNG listener class. So that will be learning slowly, right, how you can do the better reporting using TestNG. Parameterization. So sometimes people get confused with the data driven and the parameterization. Okay, so TestNG provides inherent support for parameterization using its @parameter annotation. The value of the parameter defined using @parameter annotation is passed to the test logic from the TestNG.xml file. So data driven testing, you will be running a single test cases multiple times with variety of the data. But in the parameterization, you will be running multiple test cases with same set of data. Means, right, you will be calling a single parameter and that parameter can be used in multiple test cases. So that is the basic difference. Data driven means same test case you will be running with different variety of the data. Parameterization means single data you will be using in multiple test cases. So that is called parameterization. What are the main advantage of TestNG over JUnit? Because when JUnit came, this has have some limited features, but when TestNG came, it having more broader feature. So compared to JUnit annotation, TestNG are easy to understand. TestNG allows user the grouping of test cases easily, which is not possible in JUnit. TestNG supports the following 3 additional setup like before after shoot, before after test, and before and after group, which is not available in the JUnit. TestNG does not need to extend any class. In TestNG, it is possible to run Selenium WebDriver test cases in parallel. Based on the group, TestNG allow user to execute the test case which is not available in the JUnit. TestNG allow user to determine the dependent test cases or maybe like make one test case dependent on the other. Each test case is autonomous to another test case, but which is not possible using JUnit. So that are the couple of like kind of advantages TestNG is having over JUnit. So how you can do the installation of the TestNG? So it is one time activity in the Eclipse. Once you install one time, then you can create n number of project and you can associate TestNG to the project. So first thing you need to go to the Eclipse, then Eclipse marketplace option, right? Help, Eclipse marketplace, and here you need to search with TestNG in the search box, right, in the search box, and you need to download it. That is the only thing. If you search with TestNG, the TestNG option will be there. Simply you need to install it after following some next button. But it's already installed in my system. That is the reason it will be showing here in the install section. So that is the TestNG, right? TestNG for Eclipse you can search here, and after that you need to install it. That is the only thing you need to do. Once it is installed, it is a one time activity. Then you no need to create anything. Okay, you need to associate the TestNG, right? After installation, it might need to restart your system or restart your Eclipse. After that, you can create any project or you can have any existing project. Right, in the existing project, how you can set up the TestNG? You need to select the project. So here this is my project already created. I am not creating any new project right now. So right click here, go to the properties, go to the Java build path, and here you already know, right, in case you want to associate any jar file, you need to click add external jars. But here I'll be clicking on the add library, because TestNG is a library, right, which will be giving a lot of important method, classes, etc. So library, and you could see as TestNG is already installed, TestNG is available. Select here, click on the next, and click on the finish. That's all, and apply and close. Automatically you could be able to see here in the right, reference library after down the line TestNG is being added. Means all the important thing from the TestNG you can use it now. So that is the after installation association of the TestNG in your existing project or new project you can do. Then you can create a TestNG file. Instead of Java class, you can create a TestNG class. How you can do it? Right, you can go to the package or you can create a new package. You can right click here, you can click on the new, and instead of Java project, right, sorry, class, you need to, instead of Java class, you need to click on the other, and here you need to search with TestNG. So you could see in the TestNG folder, TestNG class is available. You can click here, select here, you can click on the next, and you can simply click on finish. And you can change the class name. Suppose say TestNG session 8, today's session is 8, so I can just make it. In the training folder, that is the project name, that is the SRC folder name, that is the package name, and that is the class name. So it will be created. Click on the finish. So you could see now it is created. So by default you could see there is no main method at all, right, as at all. And at the rate test annotation is available, and by default one method is created, public void app. You can change the method name to test, right, and you can add some body here in the method. Say TestNG test method, right? This is the method I can create. After that, once the TestNG class is created, you could see some differences. If you want to run it, right, you could see, if you click on run as, you are able to see TestNG test, not the Java. That is the basic difference here. In case you are creating any Java class, you are able to see, if you run as, right, Java application. So you are running it through Java application. But now, in case you want to run in TestNG class, right, you could able to see not the Java application, because this is not a Java class. It is a TestNG class, and you are running it with the help of @test annotation, not the main method. So that is the thing you will be getting it difference. You could see now, right, in the console it is being displayed also, that how many test case passed, fail, like that, right? So TestNG test means that is the output. And what pass? Test is the method, is the that method got passed. And total run 1, failure 0, skip 0, right? So default shoot, total run 1, passes 1, failure 0, skip 0. And this is the another option coming in the right, in the bottom of the thing, after console tab, result of running class TestNG session 8. Here you could see this is the default shoot, right? It's run 1 of 0, right? And this is the default test, default shoot, and this is nothing but the package dot class name, and this is the method name. It's taken like 16 millisecond. And if you click on the fail test, in case any fail test is there, it will get, if you go to the summary, you can get to know, right, which test run, what time taken, how many class executed, how many method executed, like that. So that is the way, right, you can get better thing. Now, right, there is no folder available for the reporting purpose, but after, as and when you are running, any TestNG class, it will generate some report which was not available in the Java class. So how can you get the report? Every time after running the TestNG class, you need to refresh your project. Refresh, right click and refresh. Immediately you could see test output folder got generated. So every time it will be refreshed and generated, in case you are running any TestNG class, but not for the Java class. If you expand it, you could see there are a lot of options available. right? And there is options available called emailable report.html. If you select that report, if you right click and if you open with web browser, it will give you some better report. You could see it is giving the report from the TestNG. So it is the report is inbuilt in the TestNG and is giving you report, right? Default test run, one test case pass, no skip, no retried, no failure, like that. And this is the package dot class name, this is the method name, this is the pass. So that is the way, right? Total time, number of time, millisecond, it's run like that. So that is the way you can create your right test case. You can run it, you can generate some report. Okay. Yeah, I will take a pause, guys. Any questions so far? Okay, cool. Then I already mentioning about the features of TestNG. So in TestNG there are a lot of annotations available, right? Which will help you, right, to create the precondition or the post condition of your test. Because in TestNG we are not using any uh, kind of Java class or maybe the main method. Instead of that, we are using at the rate test annotation. So in case you are using at the rate test annotation 3 times, so that will be considered as the 3 test cases. So now if you just copy your code and if you just change it like 3 times, so you could see some error is coming because your method name cannot be unique, right? It should be different. It cannot be duplicated. Like you could see now error message gone. So test2 method, that is the output, test3 method, like that. Sorry, it is test1. I can change here, like I can change testng test1. Here I can give it 3. Here I can give it 2. So this is the 3 method. So it will be considered as a 3 test cases. Now if you run your code, you could able to see the difference. So every at the rate test means a single test cases. So you could see now 3 run, 3 pass. So at the rate test annotation will be considered as a test cases. And if you click here, you could see here 1 class run and 3 test method run. And if you go to the all tests, right, you could see here 3 run. Right, this is the test 1, test 2 and test 3. So your test method will by default will run on the alphabetical order. Right, alphabetical ascending order. That is the reason test 1, test 2, test 3 is coming. And this is the suit default, this is the test, and this is the package name dot class name, and this is the method name. And now if you refresh your project again, so your report folder will be like test output folder will be automatically updated now. And now if you click here emailable report.html, and if you again open with web browser, you could see the report got changed, right? You could see now number of test case passed 3, and this is the method got run, this is the total time taken for each and every method, this is the package name dot class name, right? This is the way it is giving you result. Okay, so what are annotations? So annotation is a tag or metadata which provides additional information about the class, interface or method in TestNG. Annotations are used to keep the structure of the test classes. This annotation invoke the method according to the invocation time. So at the rate test annotation mean test cases. Before class, after class annotation, it will execute before every class or after every class. Before group, after group, it will execute before and after group. Before method, after method will execute before and after every method. Before test, after test will execute before every test. And before shoot, after shoot will execute before and after every shoot. But that are not the test cases. That are the precondition and the post condition. You can add it. You later point of time you can get to know what are the importance of this thing. So I can run, I can add all this stuff here. Suppose say at the rate before shoot, that is the annotation, right? Then how will be writing like that? So that is the annotations, and I need to create a method public void before shoot. Right here I can mention uh, before shoot annotation. Okay, so that is the way. Now you could see some error. You need to import before shoot from the org.testng.annotation, because it's the annotation from the TestNG. And now if you can go with after shoot, you need to change the method name, so you need to import it. Similar way I can go with like before class, before test, like that. So before test, sorry, no, 1 second. So yeah, before shoot, here it will be after shoot, sorry, my mistake. A shoot, okay, then it will be before test, here it will be B test, so before shoot, here it will be after test, after test, after test. So I need to import what thing, I need to import before test, I need to import after test. Right here I can go with before class, before class, like that. Here after class, I need to import them. Similarly you can go with the other annotation, but these are the not the test cases. It will give you the pre-condition and the post-condition. Now if you running, so only at the rate test annotation will be considered as the test cases, but you can get the result or the steps whatever is mentioned in the like all the other before and after annotation, like that you could show. So before shoot will be executed, then before test, before class, then your test case will be executed, like that. In case you are using before method, so every method that will be executed. Like let's try to add it also. Before method. So I need to import it before method, after method as well. Now if you run your code, you could see before method and after method will be executed for every before and after method, but total run is 3 only. So that are not impacting your test cases. Execution wise, that will help you to run the order. Okay. So here you could see here. So first, before shoot is executed, before test will be executed at the test level, before class will be executed for class level. In case you are having multiple class, that will be executed once. But before method, you could see for the test method 1 it executed, after method executed. Similarly, before method executed for test method 2 as well, after method executed. Before method executed for test method 3 as well, after method. But class, test or the shoot level, it will be executed only one time. So what is the hierarchy? You could see that is the hierarchy: before shoot, before test, before class, before group, before method. Then you have test cases, after method, after group, after class, after shoot, and after, sorry, after test and after shoot. That is the execution sequence in TestNG. But apart from at the rate test annotation, those other annotations will only help you to perform the precondition or the postcondition of your test, but those will not be considered as a test cases. Only at the rate annotations will be, at the rate test annotation will be considered as a test cases. I can comment it out. Then how you can enable and disable test in TestNG. So TestNG provides an attribute for enabling and disabling our test. So in case you are having 3 test cases, but sometime you don't want to run all of them. Instead of that, you don't want to remove them as well. So how can you make it disable, right, to execute it? You already see the Java command, single slash, double slash, all this stuff, right? That is one way, but in TestNG I will not be using any this kind of stuff. Instead of that test case, I can make it disable or enable, right? So that is the tag called available called enabled equal to false. So that will not be considered for the execution. By default, it will be enabled equal to true. Okay, so in case you are giving enabled equal to, it will be executed, or in case you are not giving something, it will be still executed. Okay, so TestNG provides an attribute for enabling and disabling our @test. There are many times when user don't want to run particular @test, and it's not better way to remove the whole test method from the class and then add again in case user want to run the test again. So using @test enable equal to false method, user will not run that particular method. It simply skip or ignore the method and execute the next one. In case user want to execute or run, then simply add true, right, that method. Otherwise you can keep it blank. Still it will be considered as true only. So for example, there might be situation where user might have written skeleton code while development for that feature, but it is still under development, or the feature is already broken. So user know it will fail, because of which user might want to ignore those test cases from the suite or from the test cases. So by default, TestNG consider enable equal to true. If user do not provide one, right? So in case you are not giving anything, it will be still considered as a true here. In case you are giving it true, it will be executed. And in case you are giving it enable equal to false, it will not be executed, or it will be ignored. Now let's try to run it, and let's see how many test the cases is getting executed. You could see total 2 run. Why? Because that part, test method 1, is ignored. So enable equal true or blank means automatically by default enable equal to will be executed. But enable equal to false will not be executed. You could see test method 2 and 3 executed. But test method 1 got need not executed. It's just kind of simply ignored or skip from the execution. So that is the way you can deal with enable equal to true or false and enable a disable a test from the TestNG suite. Then test case priority and sequential execution in TestNG. So here we are simply using test 1, test 2, test 3 like that, right? It does not matter which sequence you are keeping it. Any sequence you can do it, but it will always execute it based on the alphabetical order, right? Okay, let's remove that enable equal to false, right? Let's remove that enable equal to true. So what happens? So I have keep test 3 first, test 1 second, and test 2 like that. But it will not be executed like that. It will execute based on the alphabetical order. So that is the reason test 1, test 2, test 3 like that. But in case you could see here execution order test, okay, yeah, here it is the main order, test 1, test 2, test 3. Output might come, but execution order will be always like that, test 1, test 2, test 3. But I want to run in some fashion, my own way interest, right? Then how can you do it? So in any automation project, most time testers are required to configure test suite to run test method in a specific sequence, or user must give precedence to certain test method over other. TestNG allow user to handle scenario like this by providing a priority attribute within @test annotation. By setting the value of the priority attribute, user can maintain, order the test method as per their need. So suppose I am just creating a testing the website, right? Particular kind of e-commerce website. So say I have created so many methods. First one login, then adding the product to the cart, then kind of booking, making the payment, returning, and then log out. But in case I want to execute them, so that will be alphabetical order. But in case alphabetical order, adding the product to the cart is coming first, that will not be executed because login is not there, so it will be failed. But in case I am giving the priority like 1, 2, 3, 4 based on the my flow, then automatically it will be executed, otherwise it will be fail. So in order to achieve, user need to add annotations called after at the rate priority equal to that particular. In case user don't mention the priority, it will take the default priority as 0 and execute. Okay, so priority will take only the numeric value. It can go to negative value, integer value, 0 and positive value. So how can I do the priority? Suppose say I want to execute test to a fast, so I can give priority. Say I can give equal to say -5, right? Then next one I execute test 3. Say I can give +5, and that one I did not give any priority. So what will take? It will take the default priority called 0, right? Okay. Now let's try to run it and let's see how the execution is happening. So -5, then 0, and then +5. That way execution will happen. You could go here, you could see now. Test 2 executed fast because it is having the less priority, because -5 is the lowest here. Then in case you are not giving anything, it will be still considered as 0 by default. That is the reason it executes second, because after -5, 0 is second lowest. After that +5 means it is the highest here out of 3. That is the reason it's got executed. So priority, what should be priority always? PRIO RIT. In case you are changing it to P caps, it will not work. You could see it will throw the error. And in case you are giving any decimal value, it will not work. Only it will take like only numeric integer value. You could see it is not work. Alphabetical value also not work. So it will take only the numeric value negative to positive. So lowest value will be executed first and highest value will be executed last. And in case you are not giving any priority, it will take the default priority as 0. And in case multiple test cases having the same priority, then they will be executed based on the again alphabetical order. So that is the way, right? You can prioritize the test cases, multiple test cases, and you can do the sequential execution with the help of TestNG. I will take a pause again, guys. Any questions? Anyone? Okay. Then assertion in TestNG. So in the isolated mode, you see, in case I want to verify something, right? I can use some if loop, else loop like that, so that I want to match with the expected and actual result. But in TestNG, there is a assert class available through which I can add assertion in our test. So assertion in TestNG are used to verify whether the test is failed or not in TestNG framework. And in automation framework also, test case is considered to be passed only if all statement in the test case execute successfully, and in case any exception is thrown or expected result do not match with the actual result, then the test case considered to be failed. Assertions are used to verify the statement and the test case in testing to decide whether the test case is pass or fail. There are two types of assertion available in TestNG. One is hard assertion, one is soft assertion. So hard assertion are usual assertion provided by TestNG. In hard assertion, in case of any failure, execution will stop immediately for that particular method. That's the drawback of the hard assertion. In case of failure, it will not execute the remaining line of code formed for the particular test method or particular test. So that is the drawback. Let's try to do some assertion. So here say TestNG test method before assertion, right? That is my line of code, and this is my another line of code after assertion. And in the middle, I am just creating any hard assertion. So there is a assert class available. Dot. If you dot, all the methods will come. So I want to just give an assertion called uh, 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 So any method you can call. So I'll be calling that integer, and that part I can skip it. So say 20 and 25. So those will not match, right? 24, those will not match. So here it will fail. Okay, so what will happen for the test method 3? So only this particular thing will be executed, because this is before the assertion, and as and when assertion is failing, immediately throw the error and it will stop the execution. So that line will not be executed. You could able to see. It will not affect the other test case because it is specific for that particular test method. Now if you save your code and if you try to run it, you could able to see 3 run, 1 failure, right? 2 pass. Okay, what is the failure here? You could see, right? Before assertion that part executed, but where is this part? That part is not here, because as and when assertion coming, it will fail. What is the failure reason? Right, expected 24 and found 20. So apart from that, there is another way to get all the details, right? You could go to that result of running class, whatever TestNG class, you can select the failed test cases. Here you could find, right, that part. You can select that and you can copy here, copy the TestNG message or copy trace, and you can paste in some notepad and you can get the details, right? You could see what is the assertion failure. But if you want to get the trace, instead of TestNG message, you can copy the trace and you can paste it, right? You could get all the details where it is failed. Then you can analyze and you can debug your code, right? Which line number it got failed? 19. You could see that is the line number it got failed, and that is the reason next line not got executed. Similar way, now if you refresh your project, refresh. Now if you go to the folder here, and now if you again want to generate the report, open with web browser, you could able to see here total pass to failure 1. What is the failure reason? You could see the reason is coming also here in the report. That is the beauty of the TestNG. In case of pass, there is that is fine showing pass, but in case of failure, you can get all the details where it is failed for the method, right? And then that is the way you can definitely debug your script, and then you can fix your script and it will work fine. So that is called hard assertion. So that is the reason we should not recommend it to use the hard assertion unless, right, only you want to just do for the testing purposes. But in the real time framework, you should always use soft assertion. So what is soft assertion? So what is the drawback of hard assertion? As and when your assertion is failure, it will immediately stop the execution there, and the remaining line of code from that particular test or the test method will be not be executed. So to deal with the disadvantage of hard assertion, customized error handler provided by TestNG is called soft assertion. So soft assertion or soft assert class allows user to have multiple assertion within a test method. Even when an assertion fail, the test method continue with the remaining test execution. The result of all the assertion can be collated at the end using assert all method. Otherwise, it will not work. Now let's try to use the soft assertion. So here I will be creating a object for the soft assert class. That is the way I can create it. I need to import it from the org.testng.asserts, then assert equal. I can give something called like string, say Selenium. That is my string expectation, and may suppose say I am giving UFT my expectation. Okay, so here assertion will fail. Okay, but it will still not fail your test case. What is the reason? I will explain. Let's try to run fast. Okay, here it should fail, but it will still pass your test case. You could see all your test case got passed. There is no failure at all. Okay, here all pass. So why it is not failing? So in case you are using soft assertion, so at the end of the your code for that particular class, you need to call assert all method. Here, even though the first assertion fails, but still the test case will continue with the execution and print the message, right? But in case user forgot to call assert or at the end, the test case will pass even. Okay. So if you go to the here, you need to call essay dot assert all. Now it will behave accordingly. Now if you execute, it will fail the test cases, but it will not stop the execution of the remaining line of code. You could see here failure one, right? All the details, but that line of code executed, which is after the assertion. You could see. So that is line got failed, 20 line number one. So you could see that is got failed. Expected EFT and found Selenium. Which line number? 20. Sorry, that is the line number here because it is failing here. That part is failing here. 24 line. Now if you refresh your project again, open with web browser, text editor, anything you can do it. You could see that test case failed. What is the reason here? Reason is expected UFT but coming as Selenium. So that is the way you can deal with the hard and soft assertion. Any questions, guys? Okay. Then I'll go to the next topics. Depends on method attribute in TestNG. I already mentioned, right? So you want to make something dependent. So in e-commerce site, right? You first the login, then the searching of the product, then the making of the payment of the product, then returning in case you are doing like that, then log out. But in case your login is not successful, there is no point of executing the other, right? Sometime. So you can make something dependent. So dependency is a feature in TestNG which allows a test method to depend on a single or a group of test method. This will help in executing a set of tests to be executed before the test method. Method dependency only works if the depends on method is a part of the same class or any of the inherited base class. So dependent method attribute on a test method specifies all the test method, right, which is depend. So in case dependency method is passed, that is fine. In case dependency method is fail, right, it will simply, the dependent method will simply skip, and that is the way, right, instead of false run, right, you can save the time. You don't want to fail it in case the dependent method is failed. So there are three test cases. So that will be executed first based on the priority, second, and that will be executed third, right, like that. Okay. So I want to make dependent here for test 2. So how can I do it? So I need to call depends on, right, that part. Let's try to make it dependent. So here how I can do it? Depends on method, right? I can call it after at the rate test. You could see you can enter depends and then you can enter control spacebar. So depends on method. And what is the method name? You need to give within the equal to and double bracket. Equal to double bracket. You can make multiple test case also. Test 2 in the double quote. Okay, that is the way you can make it dependent. Now if you running your code, so it will not having any impact. In case your test case is getting passed, it will not be having any impact. You could see 3 test cases first and right 3 first, no problem. But in case that test case got failed, so it will affect the other test case which is dependent on the test 2, test 1. Let's try to fail it. Now let's see. Let's try to execute it. So it will simply skip the test cases which is dependent, but your main test cases got fail. Because in case login is not successful, product is not retrievable, there is no point of making the payment, executing those test cases, returning this thing, all this stuff, right? So that I want to simply skip. I don't want to waste the time to running it, to failing it. So that is the reason you could see skip. You go here, you could see test 2 fail. What is the reason here? Because assertion failure, and test 1 got skipped. Why? You could see. That is the thing. Copy, trace, go to the notepad again, control V. So you could see why it is failed. Because TestNG test 1 that got failed depends on not successfully finished. So that is the way it got skipped. Right? As now in case it is passed, then there will be no problem. Your test case will be passed, executed, no skip. But in case it is not matching, it will fail. Okay. But sometimes still few of the method, though it is dependent and your main method is getting failed, still you want to execute. Right? So just like that closing the browser. It does not matter whether is your product is searchable or not. So after login, you always need to log out and close the browser. So that test case you need to always execute. So what you can do? You can mention something called always run attribute. So in case always run attribute set to true for any @test annotation, this test method will always be run even when the dependent method got failed or skipped. So what I will be doing it, I will be doing test depends on method, and I can give comma always run equal to true. So though it is fail, but still it will be executed, and based on the objective here, it will pass or fail. So that is the thing you can do it, which will be always run attribute. You could see, right? Test 1 got executed and passed. Though it is dependent, but still I want to forcefully execute. It does not matter whether the main test case is getting passed or fail, like that. So that is the way you can make something called depends on method. Okay. The next topic is invocation count. So say in Java, right, one particular test case you need to run it for 20 times. Then how can you do it? You need to copy the code and you need to paste it 20 times like that. But in TestNG, it will giving you a feature called invocation count, right? So invocation count is a TestNG attribute that defines number of times a test method should be invoked or executed before executing any other test method. If invocation count equal to 4, then test method will be executed 4 times before executing next test method. So here if you give invocation count, right, say 5. So single test case will be executed for the 5 times. I can make the assertion disable. Okay. So though it's 3 test cases, but it will be executed for 7 times. 1 plus 1 the other 2 test cases, and that test case will be executed for the 5 times. So you could see here total 3 test cases, but it will be executed 7 times because you have given invocation count equal to 5 for this test case, right? Originally test is 3, but here should level it is coming as 7. You could see here test method one time executed, but test 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, 5 out of 5 executed. right? And test method 3 one time. So for the pass it is fine, but in case one time is getting fast and one test case might take 2 or 3 minute time, so every time it will fail 10 times, mean you will be wasting some of say 30 minutes time, right? So that will be your real loss. Now let's try to fail the test cases, method 1. So what will happen? Now all your 5 iterations will fail. But in case in the real time, suppose you do some transaction, it might take 2 or 3 minutes. So 10 times in 30 minutes you are simply wasting. But you don't want to waste in case of any failure. That time you could see now, right? Failure 5, pass 2. Because that test case will be failed for the 5 time. Because the assertion failure. All the same reason. Again and again and again. So in case you don't want to waste the time, so what you can do, you can give something called skip field invocation. So in case skip fail invocation is set to true and the invocation count is specified with the value greater than 1, then all the invocation after the failure will be marked as skipped instead of fail. So that way you can save the time. So I can mention skip failed invocation equal to true. So in case of failure, though it is 10 times, but it will execute only one time, right? And remaining 9 times it will be simply skipped. So that way I can save the time because it's for the same reason only. I don't want to execute it in case of any failure because for the same because same test case will be executed. So for same reason every time it will fail, but simply I'll be wasting my time. That is the way, right? You can make skipped in failed invocation equal to true. You could show failure 1, right? But it should execute 10 times, but it is not executed because skip fail invocation I have given as, you could see remaining thing is getting skipped. 9 times is getting skipped and only one time fail. That is the way, right? You can save your time for the same failure reason. And another thing is the invocation timeout. So say in case your one test case is taking 3 minutes time, okay, but your objective is, right, you have given sometimes some people has given you that 30 minutes you have to execute whatever data you are able to do it. So you can make some time invocation timeout called 30 minute, means, right, you can give it, okay. So it will, though you are giving iteration as 20, but whatever possible in 30 minutes those test cases will be executed only, remaining thing will be skipped. So that is the way, based on the timing also you can do the execution. So invocation timeout is the maximum number of milliseconds that the total number of invocation on this test method should take. Say in case invocation timeout is set 30 seconds and invocation count is set 10 times, then this method should complete all 10 invocations within 30 seconds. Otherwise, the test will be marked as failed. This annotation will be ignored if the attribute invocation count is not specified on this test method. So in case it is related to time dependency, right, you want to execute a couple of iterations, so remaining iteration will fail based on the total time you are giving it. So that is the importance of these three attributes in TestNG. The last important topics I will cover today is running multiple test suites in TestNG using Selenium WebDriver. So here I already created, okay, this TestNG class, okay, and I can run it with the help of TestNG test, right? Test. Now let's try to create one more class here, TestNG class, new other TestNG, say TestNG 8, right? That is the name I can give it. So here I can give the method name called test4 because here 3 method is available, right? Test 1, 2 and 3, and I can now comment out this part, and here I can just invocation count I can give it to. Okay, so that part I can copy it here, I can paste it here. So test4 method. So if you again want to run it, so only that particular class, all the method you can run it, but not all the class at the same time. You could see one pass. Here if you go here, these three methods will be executed, right? Three test cases will be executed, test 1, test 2, test 3, like that. But I want to execute all the test class here, TestNG class at the same time. So is it possible? No, it is not possible. So you have to go to the class level and you can execute like the specific class. But you cannot execute all the TestNG class at the same time. It is not possible. And also here, right, suite name you cannot change. It is coming as default suite. Test name is coming as default test, like that. You cannot change it. You want to generate proper report, that is not possible. So what you can do, you can convert the whole project to TestNG, right? Then you can run all the TestNG class at the same time. So how can you do it? You can select the project, you can right click here, there's an option called TestNG, you can convert to TestNG, right? And here you can give suite name, okay? Or you can not give it, that's fine. And you can simply click on the finish. So automatically some testng.xml file will be generated here. Okay, you could see. And if you expand it, you are able to see here, right? The suite, test, all this stuff. So you can change the right suite name. Say TestNG suite. Okay, here you can change the name here. Say TestNG test. And whatever TestNG class is there, you can only select those class. So this is the TestNG class. This is not the TestNG class, this is the Java class. I can simply ignore. So what is the tag? Sometimes some people will ask the what is the tag in the TestNG.xml class. First is suite, then the test, then the classes tag. Under the classes you can have multiple classes. And multiple classes means not only from the same package, you can have multiple package. And after that you can create something, right? So say I will be creating one more package. TestNG training, right? And here I can create a class, TestNG class. Class, right? And I can create one more method here, maybe test 5. Then I also want to add it here in the TestNG.xml file. So how can you add it? So first you need to use that syntax under the classes tag, and you need to give the package name. So here package name is different, right? That is the package name. So package name dot class name. Now what is the class name? That is the class name. So that is the way you can try to execute multiple classes at the same time. So suite test, you can change the suite name, you can change the test name, and you can add so many TestNG classes from different package as well. Now you can run it from here. Save you, and as and when you want to run it, you will be seeing option called TestNG suite, but not the TestNG test. That is the beauty of testing. You could show TestNG suite, but in case you want to run from individual class level, it will be coming as TestNG test for TestNG class. For Java class, that is the one important, very key important thing. For Java, it will be coming as Java application. For TestNG class, at individual class level, it will be coming as always TestNG test. But in case you want to execute from the TestNG.xml file, it will be always coming as TestNG suite. So you can run as a suite multiple test cases at the same time. You could see. Now total 6 run. Why it is 6? Because from this class, right, total 3 method is there, but one method I want to run for 2 times, so total 4 method. For the TestNG 8 class, 1 method, and for the other class, 1 method. So total from all the packages, all the classes is running, right? And if you go here, you could able to see the differences. TestNG suite. That name got changed based on the name you have given here. Sorry, TestNG. You can change it and you can run it again. Test. So automatically it should update. It should take from the TestNG.xml file. You could see here TestNG suite based on the suite name, TestNG test based on the test name given, and then it is coming as package name dot the class name. So test training package dot class name. This is the method applicable here, right? Available. Okay. So for the other thing, right? Other method. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1 is running for 2 times because you have given invocation count as 2. And for the other same package, training package, there is a TestNG 8 class available. It is running here. Now, that is the way you can run multiple classes from the multiple package at the same time. Now, if you refresh your project, you could see that particular the test report will be changed now. Now, if you just select and right click and click on the open with your web browser, you could see that is your test name, that is your suite name, test name, and that is called package name dot the class name, and that is the method name. That is the package name dot the class name, that is the method name. Package name dot the class name and a multiple method is available. So total number of iterations is 6. All are getting passed. Right? Now if you just fail any test cases. So in case all are passed, then your hierarchy will be passed. A parent hierarchy. In case any failure, your parent failure will be failure. Now let's try to fail it. Now try to run it from the test.xml file. You could see failure 1. Now if you go here, it is got fail. So pass is green tick mark, fail is right cross mark, and skip is right yellow cross mark. And what is the failure reason? You could see in case anything is fail, your parent thing will be also fail. That package, then your test, and then your suite. Now if you refresh the project and if you go to the same path, it will be also changed because report is getting generated in the same path, right? That is got fail and that is also got fail parent level. What is the failure reason? It you are expecting 20 but coming as 40. So that is the way you can deal with the TestNG. I'll recapture once more time, then I'll go for any questions, and the remaining topic from the TestNG will be covered in next session. So always you should go with some framework in case you are really doing some testing and creating some thing from the new. So you should rely on some framework. So TestNG JUnit is a framework which is already providing you a lot of advantage. But in the real time you have to cope up with some kind of framework approach. It can be keyword driven, data driven, hybrid, BDD like that. So TestNG NG stands for Next Generation, is a JUnit inspired open source automated testing framework providing several features like data driven testing, parameterized support, utility, annotation, grouping, and right kind of creating robust and powerful testing project. It can be used for any kind of testing starting from end to end, integration like functionals, MOOC, etc. And it will generate some beautiful report, right? You can already see how many tests passed, failed, skipped, along with the failure reason as well. There are a lot of annotations available like before test, before method, before group, after group, before suite, after suite, before class, after class, like that you can use it. Different kind of assertions available, right? You can run the test case in parallel, you can make one test case depending on the other, you can prioritize the test case, you can group in the test case, you can do the data driven approach, same test case you can execute multiple times, right, with the different variety of the data. You can get the different reporting, default HTML reporting. You can parameterize means same test cases, sorry, with the same data you can run the multiple test cases. You need to open the Eclipse, you need to install like the TestNG for Eclipse one time activity. After that you can associate right to that any project, right? You need to click here, select the project, and you need to right click, right, and you need to go to that properties, Java build path, you need to click on add library and you need to just add associate it. Automatically all the thing will be added to your project. After that you can create a TestNG class. So by default one method will be created, you can change the method, right? So after that you can run with the help of TestNG test, right? There are a lot of annotation you can use, right? You can, in case you are having multiple tests at the rate test, you need to use it, and after for every at the rate test there should be at least one method. There is no need of the Java main method because you are using TestNG class, right? And you, in case you want to in disable a test case, you can use in like test cases at the rate test enable equal to false. By default it will be true, and you can do the priority of the test case in case you want to do the execution based on your requirement. So you need to use priority equal to 0 1 2 3 like that. So negative and lowest priority will execute it first, then the highest one. In case you are not giving any priority, then it will be taking the default priority called 0. In case couple of methods, couple of tests having the same priority, then what will happen, right? In case couple of methods is having the same priority, then like again it will be executed based on the alphabetical ascending order. Assertion you can use to match the actual and expected result. There are two types of assertion, hard and soft assertion. So hard assertion, in case you are using it, so in case of failure your execution for that particular test cases will stop there. That is the reason it is not recommended to use the hard assertion. Instead of that, you can use the soft assertion. Though your test case will be failed, but it will not stop the execution for the remaining line of code. So whenever you are using hard assertion, soft assertion, so at the end of the line for that particular test method, you need to call assert all method. Otherwise, your test case will not fail, though it is not matching actual and expected non matching. You can make one test case dependent on the other, so that, right, in case your dependent test case is getting failed, that those will not be executed. But in case still you want to execute it, you can use always run equal to attribute equal to true. In case you want to execute one test case n number of time, you can use invocation count equal to 5 10 like that. But definitely in case of failure, all your test cases will fail, so you will be wasting a lot of time. So in case of fast, you can execute them n number of time, and in case of failure, if you want to only execute one time and the remaining thing you can just skip it, so that you can use skipped failed invocation equal to true. You can use invocation timeout also, so that within the time how many number of iterations it can be passed, you can get the desired result. Right, after that, in case right, you are having multiple classes, TestNG classes from the multiple packages, it is not possible to run it. So you will be getting class level, you will be getting the option called TestNG test, so you can run only that particular class at the same time. So in case you want to run all the classes, TestNG classes from the different package, you need to convert the project to the TestNG project. After that, automatically your TestNG.xml file will be created. So then in that particular file, right, you can modify your suite name, test name, and under the classes tag, you can give the so many classes with the help of the package name dot the class name. Then you can use TestNG run, sorry, TestNG suite. You can run them with the help of TestNG.xml file, right? Run as TestNG suite. Then automatically all your test cases classes from the different packages will be run. So that is the way you can deal with the TestNG. And the remaining important topic from the TestNG I'll cover next session. Thank you.